You know, the one thing I admired about Harold, uh, he would put pressure on the quarterback all the time. He wasn't one of those guys that you heard a lot out of, but his actions on the field said enough. He was aggressive, and I kind of admired other defensive linemen that took the game serious and wanted to learn it. And Harold actually did. He wanted to learn how to do things differently, and he watched other players, and I admired that. You know, that's what it's all about. That's how you get better.
Always seemed to be around where the ball was. Just hustle, hustle, hustle. He's one of those guys that was always in the middle of plays. I mean, if there was a play to be made, it seemed like he was there all the time. Had good football intelligence. Seemed to always know where plays were going. He was one of the first guys that got there.
Harold Gist, defensive end for Pabst Blue Ribbon and Hagerstown Floors. Larry Podorf said something to me about playing for Midtown. I played for them one year, but I was working and it was hard to get off to play and practice with them. The following year, I talked to Rick Short. He sort of talked me into, coming over to Pabst Blue Ribbon. And that was good because they sounded like a team that needed players, and it was going to give me a chance to play over there. I like playing defensive end. I like defense. It's always a challenge to try not to go through a guy, but more or less try to go around him, because flag football is more or less a game of finesse.
I remember so vividly how much pressure he put on you. He was kind of like Buck in practice, because he was always a guy you had to worry about when you prepared for that team, because they had a good team, and Roy Stoner did a nice job with them, and Harold Gist was probably one of the best defensive rushers in the league.
Harold played for a couple other teams before he came to play with us, and he was a good flag puller. Harold wasn't real big for a defensive line, but he always made the plays and put a lot of pressure on people.
Played with him and against him. Against him, he was one of these guys that had a murder. I mean, if you thought you had him blocked, and if you didn't stick with it, he was going to run it down from behind.
I don't think there's a person that ever met him that didn't like him. He's just one of those guys. But I tell you, on the football field, he was go all out.
Well, I think one year we played the teams from Baltimore. In fact, we played them 2 years. One time we went down there and played them. We did well against the Baltimore teams, but that year I think we came up against the Midtown and we got beat in the finals. The following year they came up here and played us. So we had good games there. Now I think Midtown got knocked out and we had to play a team called the Green Machine. They went up 27-14 on us, and they missed an extra point. And I can always remember Rick Short saying, "Hey, yeah, you're going to pay for that extra point. You're going to pay for missing that extra point." And later on in the game, we came back and beat them 28, I think, to 27. It was a lot of fun playing, and it was a good time to play back in then, because we had so many good guys, a lot of good players that played in the league back in the 70s and 80s. Without the officials, it would have been hard to see how that league would have survived without killing each other each game. And they brought they brought some organization. They brought, they kept the game under control. Lummy was a great guy. I always looked forward to him being out there, because you knew if he was out there that things wouldn't get out of control.